Hey, what's up, solarpreneurs? Welcome back to another podcast. We're going to be talking about what Trump is doing that we can apply to our solar cells career. Yeah, we're not going to get super political. Don't worry. If you love Kamala, you can still join in on the podcast. But I'm just going to be speaking strictly from the perspective of what can we learn about cells, some things in marketing that Trump is doing that I think are giving him a huge edge in the election. At the time of this recording, we're, I think, 5 days out from election day. So anything could happen. Who knows? Maybe it's rigged. Okay, we'll see what's happening. But let's talk about some sales principles we can learn from Mr. Trump. So welcome back to the podcast. My name is Taylor Armstrong. We're here to help you close more deals, generate more leads and referrals, and hopefully have a much better time in the solar industry. And if you're watching the video version, recently upgraded a few things in the studio. So have the little solarpreneur sign in the background here. Got upgraded our video a little bit. So hopefully you notice the difference. But always trying to make small improvements. And I'll be honest, this podcast for like the first 4 years, it's literally been recorded half the time, just on my phone with little clip-on mics. And the important thing is showing up. So hopefully people can take the principle from that is that you don't have to have things perfect. For me, I probably should have been making improvements earlier than this, but hey, important thing is showing up, and over time you can make upgrades to quality and things like that. Maybe do it quicker than I did. Okay. But so we're going to jump into the podcast today. And again, we're talking about what Trump is doing, some principles we can learn from and apply. And really, I broke it down to 4 things. There's probably more, but there's 4 things in specific that I've noticed Trump do that I think are extremely smart from a sales perspective. Just 4 principles here. Okay, and so the first one, he has mastered grabbing attention. Hey, this guy, he has been on pretty much every podcast you see around. He just went on Rogan. He's been on countless other podcasts that are geared towards, I would say, like, millennial, younger people, 30 and under. And he's been on pretty much every news channel. He's done constant interviews, and he knows how to grab the attention. And at times he says some ridiculous things. If you've been watching recently, at the time of this recording, we had the whole garbage controversy where, the comedian went to his rally, said the island of Puerto Rico was garbage. And then Biden came out and said, no, it's Trump supporters are garbage. And this guy, Trump, he goes to his next rally and he shows up in an actual garbage truck dressed as a garbage man. I mean, how the marketing around that, absolute insanity. Like, who shows up as a garbage man? They've never been seen before in politics. So the stuff this guy is doing, he knows how to grab the attention. He says some controversial things, but he gets in front of people. And you look at the left-wing media, the liberal media, they're constantly talking about him because for better or worse, he's always grabbing people's attention. So he's making names for people too. Crooked Joe, or Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe, Lion Kamala, all these names he's got. He's clever. So the principle from this is, are you grabbing attention in your solar sales career? Maybe you're marketing. Marketers know you got to be grabbing attention. But even if you're just knocking doors like myself, even if you are just, I don't know, working like a booth, whatever, you got to be grabbing the attention. However you do it, you need to be out there grabbing attention to get sales ultimately. Okay, so that's the first principle. The second one is he has a future-based cause. And what I mean by that, if you look at Trump's campaign slogan, it's Make America Great Again, MAGA, right? And I believe that's part of what won him the 2016 election. But something really interesting, I actually heard this from my guy, Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels, great guy to follow for marketing if that interests you. But he was talking about how if you go back to 1980, every single campaign has been won by someone that had a future-based cause. And in other words, they're talking about the future. They're not talking about the past. And just to give an example, you go back to 1980. I didn't know this, but Ronald Reagan, his slogan was actually about the same as Trump. Let's make America great again. Right. And then the next one, it's morning again in America. You look back, 2008, Obama, change we can believe in. 2012, Obama, forward. 2020, Biden, build back better. When Trump's in 2020 was actually keep America great. So just really interesting. All these campaigns, they're future-based causes, right? And that's what Trump is doing this time again around. Make America great again, right? Make America healthy again. He's throwing all these things to get people to think towards the future. So in sales, I believe specifically for solar, I believe we should be also talking about a future-based cause in solar. And hopefully all of us are doing this, but how is the benefits of solar, how is it benefiting people's future, right? Is it giving them cleaner energy? Are you talking about the future savings? Are you talking about the future home value increases? And too many of us, I think sometimes we don't spend enough time talking about the future benefits that they're going to get and painting that picture. And that leads me into the third point, which is painting a vivid picture. If you listen to any Trump rally, most of his interviews, he's using, I would say, extremely picturesque language, for lack of a better word. And he's painting the picture, right? His campaign right now, they're extremely focused on the immigration stuff, right? So what does he talk about? Go listen to one of his rallies. He says they're dumping people in, they're bringing them in, they're dumping their prisons. They're coming from insane asylums, from mental institutions. They're rapists, they're gang members. And he's just getting you to think, wow, this is insane. And then another thing that you notice he does, he's always saying, think of it, think of this. So think of this. Kamala, she's destroying our country because XYZ. And I've actually been using it in my presentations. You tell people, think of this. Utility, they've raised their rates. They've raised their rates 100% over the past 10 years. Think of it. Can you imagine how much you're paying? So getting people to really picture in their head the problems and the issues and the things you bring up, I think it's really effective. So something we should do. And so, he's comparing the country to a garbage can for other countries because people are dumping their immigrants like garbage. Okay. And again, not trying to get political, just talking about the things that he's bringing up in his campaign, right? And the imagery he's putting in people's heads. So how can you use this in solar? How can you paint a more vivid picture when you're out there selling? Use lines like Trump saying, think of it. They're raising our rates, tell the stories, right? He's telling lots of stories in his interviews, in his rallies. So these are all things we should be doing when we're selling in our own presentations. And so many different ways you can apply in recruiting too. So those are the three things. And the last thing I'm noticing is he is just a workhorse. He's working like crazy. You look at all the hours he's put into interviews, to rallies. You look on YouTube and it's literally like every 3 hours, there's a live stream of him speaking somewhere. And one of the things that he brings up is he has not taken a day off for, I think it was like 67 days. And for good reason, right? He's running for president of the country. And he talks about how Kamala, I don't know, who knows if it's true, but he's always bringing up how Kamala took off 2 days last week. We got 6 days before an election and she's taking a day off. He's going nonstop. So you got to hand to this guy. He's like 78, just going at an insane pace and speaking for, think of it, right? He's speaking for like 2-3 hours at a time, and he's doing this multiple times a day. It's like sometimes I'll get done recording a podcast for even an hour and I'm like, my brain's fried. it takes a lot of concentration, takes a lot of mental energy. Speaking from, I know the more you do it, the more you get used to it. But a lot of us, we're not used to putting up an extreme pace like that. So the way you can apply this in solar is like, have you push yourself to the limits? Have you pushed the pace? Have you done a blitz with your team? Are you doing everything possible to hit the numbers and hit towards your goals that you want to reach? Right. And maybe we're not running for president, right? But we should put ourselves up against a deadline, right? And something Mike O'Donnell talks about is he sells with a deadline always. He sells like the utility has a gun pointed to the homeowners' heads and they got to do it now. And it helps you with the urgency, but it helps you also to push harder because we don't know when things are going to change. We don't know when things are going to get more regulated. So set yourself a deadline, push hard. And, I wouldn't suggest working 67 days without a break, but maybe you work like 2 weeks without a break. Okay. I came from pest control where we did summers where it was essentially 4 months with only one day off, right? And working like 12-hour days every day. So try to set yourself some goals that actually push you and get behind a team, do a blitz. Our teams that we're about to start a competition where we're going to get, it's called the Masters. We're going to go extremely hard for the 3 weeks before Thanksgiving and see what we're going to accomplish. So I would encourage you to do the same. And then just to remind you the 4 points with this, grab the attention. Okay, get in front of your homeowners, get in front of the people who can buy your product. Number 2, have a future-based cause. Get people thinking towards the future and how can you benefit them in their future. You call it future pacing. This is something I learned from Jordan Belfort. He talks about that in his book, Future Pacing, paint that picture. And then number 3, paint the picture. Get them to imagine, all these scenarios, the problems with the utilities. Make the utility an enemy and paint a vivid picture of why they're the enemy. Just like Trump is doing when he's talking about they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. He's painting some crazy pictures with that. So think of how you can apply that in your solar presentations. And number 4, set yourself a deadline, work like crazy, push as hard as you can, see what you can achieve. I believe many people have not pushed themselves to the limit. Sometimes we need to push ourselves and embrace the discomfort because that's how we're going to grow the most. And that's how I think we're going to break through and achieve new levels of success. So I hope that helped. Send this to someone that loves Trump. They're going to love this episode. And maybe if they hate Trump, send this to them too. And they can, nitpick stuff. I'm not trying to get too political on this, but we'll see what happens with the election. It's going to be crazy either way. And I believe that whatever happens with the election, it's like we can only control so much. And I think the solar industry is going to continue moving forward, continue growing, whether Trump is the next president or whether Kamala is the next president. We'll see. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you on the next one. Check out the links below if you're interested in potentially joining up with our team. We've got a few spots available. Shout out to our sponsor, Solar Scout. You guys rock, and we'll see you on the next episode.